Hey guys, it's your boy Mo coming to you. Listen, first and foremost, I hope everybody's out there doing the best they can do by keeping themselves socially distanced, wearing a mask, washing your hands, and just trying to protect the people that you love by protecting yourself, first and foremost. Second, this world is getting crazier and crazier as it goes on day by day. And I think we have to sit back and realize that we're watching an old movie and the cast of characters are just new actors. And some of them are old recurring actors that just refuse to get off the stage and let somebody else be their replacement. Now, everything that's going on with, you know, these shootings, this violence, this racism, this systemic racism, the police brutality. We have a president that just can't seem to get the concept of united we stand and divided we fall. That's something that he just can't seem to get a concept on. And I think it has to do with a lot of things that have gone on in the past. Many of you may not even realize or recognize or even have allowed yourselves to think about a young man that lost his life as a teenager in Bensonhurst, and his name was Yusef Hawkins back in 1989. So I'm gonna just give you a little background now. Back in 1989, remember they were going through the Central Park 5 too, and who was the biggest advocate about having these young kids locked up that they thought committed this horrendous, heinous crime against this young lady in the park that night, which is horrible. And at the forefront, Donald Trump was behind that. He reared his ugly head and spewed that these kids should be put underneath the jail. So he was the snake, the head. He was the snakehead at the time. Now, at that same point in time, this young man from New York that happened to go into Bensonhurst with the assumption that him and his friends were going to look at a car to purchase, were being set up. And this young man was shot and killed. And we didn't hear anything from then Donald Trump, the activist, saying that there was an injustice and that racism played a part in it. So when we start looking at the things that are happening today, with this world and all these acts of violence that are going on, we have to sit back and realize that this is the same shit that's been going on over and over again. And sometimes we have these sorry ass politicians that understand that they can pull on your emotional strings and get you to vote for them. And then once they get in office, it seems like nothing really changes. Because back then we had Ed Koch, who was the mayor, and we had David Dinkins, who was running to be the new mayor. And listen, David Dinkins won the election, but David Dinkins didn't do anything as far as trying to right the wrongs that were done from the administrations in the past. And therefore, you had, I want to say, 12 or 13 kids that were involved in this Bensonhurst incident, and maybe 3 were actually convicted, and the others were acquitted. But the kid that they say shot and killed him, he was given 32 years. The kid that organized the this gang to surround this kid and have a lynch mob mentality was found guilty of a lesser crime and was given, I believe, 16 years, which he served 8 years of, which is a joke. Because here's a young kid that lost his life. Why? Not because he did something wrong, or not because he came in there to harm somebody else, just on the pretense that he was coming in to look at a car. And if you look at the situations that are going on today, here you have this young kid that goes in and shoots and kills two people and damn near blows off a man's arm and is walking down the middle of a street with a assault rifle, and the police are just driving by him, not questioning him, even though they've heard the call that there's been a shooting. And this is a 17-year-old kid. So when we don't do anything, and the president doesn't do anything to denounce the violence or to speak out against this young man that did this horrific act of taking two lives and maybe disabling another one's life. When you don't speak out against that, that shows me that the level of divisiveness that you have. And you can sit back and say you're the people's champ, you're the people's president, you are the guy that cares the most, and you've brought the unemployment down to its lowest levels, and you bring the stock market up to its highest highs, and you've had a thriving economy while you were in office. But we also have to really sit back and examine and look at the office that you took over, because when Barack was the president, guess what? He came into a situation where we were failing. We were in a demised economy. We were in the unemployment highs. But when he left office, guess what? At the end of the day, he had a thriving economy. The stock market was on the rise. Unemployment levels were lower. So you took over a good situation. Yes, it did continue to get better as the years went on, but you also took over a country that was not as divided as it is today. And you are constantly making it worse by putting fuel on the fire and hoping that it ignites a base that is so racially divisive that they can reelect you in office. You know, this thing called America, it's a hell of a place, man, because you just have to look at its history to find out that no, everything is not peaches and cream. Because guess what? When we talk about peaceful protests, right? We talk about people that want to be given an opportunity to be treated equal so that they can thrive and prosper, and so that their families can have a chance and an opportunity to be successful in life. We also have to remember that this land was the native Indians' land. We came over here, we bullied them, we poisoned them, we killed them off to take what was theirs, to say now, well, this is our land. And nobody talks about that we bullied them. We were under British rule. But guess what? Didn't we protest? We protested and we fought because we felt as though we were not getting our fair share in this country. So guess what? Yeah. Protesting, it goes back. It's a history, and it was violent protesting. But when people do it today, these people are uncouth. These people have no regard for what's going on, or no regard for anyone's property. You have to understand. Look at the history of our country, and then you tell me what peaceful protest looks like, because it seems like when you do peacefully protest and nothing seems to get accomplished, people get a little uneased, and then something horrific happens. And then you ignite a spark, which turns into a flame, that turns into an inferno. And now you have a movement that is hard to get control of. And you have a lot of good, great Americans that are involved in these protests. And of course, you're always going to have people that are divisive, that have their own agenda, that don't want peaceful protests, but they want to spur violence, looting, and whatever. But for the most part, I mean, we have young, white, black, Latino, Asian, Greek, Spanish, Irish, Catholics, Protestants, Jews, Gentiles, Baptists, Lutherans, Mormons that are willing to sit back and protest as one so that we can finally start to get some justice. Nobody's asking for more justice. We're just asking for equal justice. Not more justice, equal justice. You can't justify shooting somebody in the back 7 times, yet have a confrontation with a man of another race, and he's being confrontational towards you, and you never fire a shot, even when that person is attacking you. Never fire a shot. So we don't want more, we just want equal. It's hard. It's fucking hard to sit back and walk outside and put a smile on your face and say, hey, this is the land of opportunity. This is the land of milk and honey. Well, guess what? It's the land of opportunity if opportunity is given to you. It's not the land of opportunity when you do not see it in your future, when you do not see it in your community, when you do not see it in your state, when you do not see it in your economic state of living, your economical limits, when you have economic limits put on you because you don't earn. There aren't enough skilled, well-paying jobs that you can get. When the education in your communities are subpar, that you can't get good teachers to come to work because they're afraid to come teach in those environments. That's not equal. But at the same time, when you have people that should be supportive of police because they know that they're paying the salaries for the police officers to protect them, but when you feel as though you're paying the salary for someone to hurt you, to maim you, to kill you, it's hard to put a smiling face on every day. It's hard to have a conversation with your kids to let them know that you cannot say what you feel when you are pulled over or in a certain situation. Remain calm, keep your hands visible, turn the lights on in your car so that the officers can see everything that's in your car so that there's no type of a chance that someone's going to say you were reaching for something and you can lose your life. These aren't talks that you should think about having to have with your kids. You should be having to have talks about your kids about life in general, education, family, the experiences that they're going through and that they will go through. But you don't feel as though you have to really sit your child down and let them know that there's a chance if he gets pulled over by the wrong type of police officer that he might not come home. He may be one of the unfortunate few. That's not what we want. What we want is we want an America where we're all included. You know, when you go to a resort and you pay for an all-inclusive, guess what? That means everything is included. Opportunity, employment, benefits, housing, health care, job opportunities, good neighborhoods, good policing, good political figures. That's all inclusive. I don't think it should be set aside for what your tax bracket is, because you have to start seeing people instead of looking at people and making a judgment call. You know, you look at me and this is what you see, is what you're looking at, just a visual. But if you can see me and see the type of person I am and see the type of ethics and morals and character that I have, then guess what? You'll stop looking at the color of my skin and you'll start looking at the content of my heart and my character and my soul. And that's what we're all supposed to be guaranteed at birth. It just doesn't happen that way. So for everybody out there that really wants to make a change, you can make a change. But change comes by being active. Change comes by becoming involved. Change comes by not being divisive. Change comes by accepting people that do not look like you for who they are, seeing them for the real person that is behind the face. Change comes with not every negative action has to have a negative reaction. Change starts with getting yourself up, getting yourself registered. Stop talking about what you're going to do or what everybody else should do. Change comes by you looking yourself in the mirror and saying, hey, I need to make a change. I need to make a difference. I want to make a change. I want to make a difference. So let me get myself up. Let me get myself registered. Let me go out and vote. For all of those people that think that you are going to lose out on something if Donald Trump is not reelected, take a look over the last 4 years and see what you got. What did you get? Tell me that your salary is better. Tell me that your health care is better. Tell me that you were economically affected in a positive way by the stock market being at the levels that it was. Now, if you have extra money to invest in the stock market, then maybe you were, affected positively. But for those that don't have the money to invest in the stock market, guess what? A thriving stock market makes no difference to them because they don't have the money to put there because they have to put it other places, such as rent, food, bills, etc. We can make a difference. But in order to make a difference, I'm asking everybody in all of these small states where your electoral votes make a difference, please take a look outside. Please take a look and see what's going on around you and ask yourself, is this what you want to see for the next 4 years? Or would you hope to see an environment where everybody can thrive and everybody can be a part of something bigger than what's going on today? It's a necessity to get up, get out, and vote. If you know somebody that doesn't vote, if you know somebody that refuses to register, please urge them to register. And guess what? I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not, because that is your choice as an American. That is your choice as a citizen. And that is your choice as a human being to make your own decision. But make a decision that is at least an educated decision that you think will be the best for you and your family. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. What I see going on in this day and age, another 4 years, I don't think it's going to be the best for me and my family. I just don't. Now, for those that are secretly, Trump supporters and publicly Trump denouncers, we know we're going to have people that do that, they vote based on their pocket. And that's fine. But in an America where you are the caretaker of the country, when you take on that great responsibility, when you have such great powers, well, along with those great powers comes an even greater sense or an even greater duty of responsibility. That's what goes along with those great powers, a superior sense of responsibility, because you're the caretaker of everyone. So close your eyes and don't see the people that are in front of you. Close your eyes and embrace everybody that's there. That's what a caretaker does. You are the father, the head of the family. and you're making decisions for your family. That's what this country is supposed to be. You are the father, you are the caretaker, you are the advisor. You're the one that we look for guidance to. But if I can't even get you to admit to me that there's a problem, what kind of caretaker can you be? What type of guidance could you give? What type of advice should we listen to? You got to do better. And we have to do better. And for anybody out there that thinks I'm against anybody that's of a different race, it's no further that's the furthest thing from being true. See, I don't care what color you are as long as you treat me right. You know, you can be a black police officer, and if you're bad, guess what? You're bad. And we have those that are out there that aren't doing their job right, that don't tote the line and just fall in line when they see things that are not being done correctly. And then they have the same tendency to do the same shit. We have black politicians that do the same thing. So it doesn't make a difference to me what color you are. But when you sit back and refuse to acknowledge what's happening on a day-to-day basis, it tells me that you shouldn't be the guy sitting at the head of the table. You just shouldn't be. For those figures, Herschel Walker, he spoke at the RNC. Hey, Herschel Walker, great athlete. And I can't take anything or say anything bad about Herschel Walker because I don't know the man personally. But if he feels as though Donald Trump is a good personal friend of his, that's great. But I think we also need to acknowledge and accept that we can have good friends that we know are fucked up. We can have good friends that we know need to step up to the plate and do the right thing. But we shouldn't sit back and make it out that we have friends that are questionable as far as character. Guess what? Your record speaks for itself. Your record speaks for itself. So get your asses up. Get out there. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to register, to tell somebody else to register. And guess what? If we get enough people registered and we get enough people to actually get up off of their asses and make it out to the voting polls or mail-in votes or however you would like to vote, if we have enough participation throughout the country, then maybe we'll get a little better leadership in the country. In the country. That goes from your mayors to your Congress, to the senators, to the assemblymen. You know, it goes from the top to the bottom. We need better leadership. We need better people to have better decision-making skills that will affect the entire country and not the chosen few. Listen, this is your boy Mo, and I'm a spit fire. I'm a spit fire. And I'm not going to holler, I'm not going to rant, I'm not going to rave, but I'm going to bring it to you the way it is. Those that, you know, think there's something good that comes out of the things I say, guess what? I love you. I appreciate you. I want you to keep listening, subscribe, hear me, make my voice a mission. And if I say things that maybe you don't want to say, but believe, tell somebody and let them tell somebody and let them tell somebody, because it starts with a ripple in the water to create a wave. Okay? That's what we're trying to do. We have limited time to make a change, because this election is coming up fast. So we have a limited amount of time. I don't want to hear about guys that are too busy. You don't have time to do this. You don't have time to do that. You don't have time to give. For all the movie actors and actresses, for all the people in the music industry, all the rappers, all the singers, all the dancers, all the, theatrical actors, poets, anybody that's out there, tell somebody. Go into a community that you might not have gone into before and spur somebody to make a change. Spur somebody, challenge somebody to challenge themselves into making a change, become a reality. I mean, it's sad, because I'm going to try and be that voice. Period. Now, you can kiss my ass if you don't like what I have to say. And I'll respect you for it. Because all I can ask you to do is close your eyes and open your ears. And forget what I look like when I'm speaking to you. Just hear the words. Sometimes the truth hurts, but we have to be willing to accept the truth in order to get to the other side. You tell your kids when they do something wrong, and they may not like it, but they learn to accept it because they know that what you're telling them is in their best interest in the long run. So if you want to sit back and deny, ask yourself one question. If you were on the receiving end of an act of brutality by the police officer, and you were telling your story, would you want somebody to sit back, listen, take action, and make sure that there are repercussions for the police officers that were involved? Or would you want people to say, it wasn't that bad. He must have been doing something wrong. He must have provoked the officers. Think about if it's your child, if it's your mother or your father or your wife or your sister or your aunt or your grandmother or grandfather. You'd want people to listen. You'd want action to be taken. You wouldn't want somebody to be sitting at home in their home and someone busts in their house and kills them, shoots them while they're resting, sleeping in their house, and no repercussion. And then we have a president that doesn't think that there's need for police reform. Ms. Taylor, that one's for you. How many times does a man have to say, I can't breathe, before you take your foot off of his neck, before you take your knee off of his neck, or before one of the people that are standing around supposedly being police officers says to that officer, hey, that is enough. Stop. We have to remove you. How many times does a young man have to jog to be confronted, to be shot? How many times does a man have to be shot in the back? 7 times. How many times does a simple traffic stop have to turn into a fatality before we can sit back and even accept that there's something wrong? If I were walking around with 3 heads on my shoulder, someone would say there's something abnormal going on there. There's something wrong. Why? Because it's abnormal. It's something that shouldn't take place. It's something that just doesn't make sense. But when we can sit back and see time and time and time again of the violence and the brutality that's been taking place in this country for hundreds of years, and we have not said stop, things have to change. Stop. Things really have to change. Peace. I'm out.